all the organizers and dignitaries from all over the world. It's my great honor to share some ideas. And it's a great privilege to speak after that presentation from Germany. My presentation is titled Digital Economy, Africa, Mind Your Business. The concept is that an economy refers to something, how you organize resources, how society will organize the resources and shares and manages value, how this value and how the people make their living. And the goal of organizing the economy is to make sure that we create value, distribute it fairly, and raise the quality of life today and in the future. And so when we talk about digital economy, we are talking about two concepts. The digital side, which refers to the technology, the infrastructure, the platforms that we use, the devices that we're using, the innovations, the skills, literacy, and all that goes with the technology. However, there is another side, which is the economy part of it. While the digital is equivalent to creating the rail lines and the trains of the previous industrial revolutions, the digital is where, the economy is where we make the value, where we create the jobs, where we touch the actual lives of the people. And so it is possible, if we are not balancing the digital and the economy, that a country can be digitally connected, but economically disconnected. If it doesn't produce the value, if it doesn't capture that value, and if it does not retain that value to enhance the economies and the livelihoods of the people. In our analysis in Uganda, we have discovered that all economies, all segments that produce technology and use it to build the economy has three components. There is the production of the technologies, there is the value addition to that technology or whatever product it is, and there is the consumption of it. And value or the economy is distributed around each of these. How much is in each segment will depend on that particular economy. And so we have analyzed in terms of contributing to the digital economy value chain, we've discovered that production, Africa is participating in that economy very marginally. In terms of value addition, it is also very, very minimal. And in terms of consumption, this consumption is very, very high. So Africa is getting positioned at consumption, but that consumption is extractive. In other words, it takes value out of African countries to the rest of the world instead of putting value in this. And when you look at the different segments of digital economy, where is the money? We find that the segments where there is a lot of money, Africa is not participating there. The digital services, the e-commerce, the digital hardware, the manufacturing and the selling. And so you see that Africa is participating mostly in the smaller, in the lower and less endowed components of this economy. And that is why when we do the analysis to look at the net flow of value in this economy, we find that Africa and South America, we have a negative net effect on the economy. The money is flowing out of Africa even as we push the digital economy. It is actually a negative economy on the continent. So Africa is embracing the digital, but often we are neglecting the economy. We are not looking at how are we bringing the actual value to grow our countries. So Africa is not paying sufficient attention to the economy in this digital economy. And the answer, the question is why? Why aren't we paying attention? One, the way we have presented the digital economy, digital migration, digital divide, it has been presented as a social issue instead of as an economic and business issue. And very few African countries have captured this as a key business issue. It is being socialized instead of economized. Also, we have looked more at the technology rather than the benefits in terms of growing the economies. And so, the way it is even presented, it goes to those ministries which are more technical, and the ministers of finance are not at the table when we are discussing how this economy is growing. So it is more tech-led than economy-led. But we also have weak metrics for measuring and actually documenting. When I digitize my education, how is that actually improving the economy? So, to give Africa a fair chance of sharing in this digital economy, the current extractive and consumer-centric model must be restructured into a production-oriented, sovereignty-driven, and value-retaining model. And I hope that all of us seated in this room, we can support Africa to do that. And in Uganda, we have looked at a few things which we are taking baby steps to show that this is possible. Currently, for example, in terms of infrastructure and sovereignty, most of it is capital flight. It captures and takes value out. Even when we borrow money, that money ends up in the developed economies. It does not stay to grow the economy. So what we are doing is we are trying in Uganda to find some new things that we are developing to own infrastructure. And on that slide, you can see some of the initiatives, practical initiatives that we are doing. In terms of the production, for us to participate in this, currently Africa is not participating, but we are proposing a model where we have local development of gaming. For example, we have tried local development of platforms, and the one we are working on in Uganda is a gaming platform. And this will help Africa to retain value, because most of where the value is resident, currently that value is not on the continent. And when we simply have the devices, we have the computers, we access internet, we are misreading that as growing the economy. In terms of integration of our, we are also developing some models, some pilots that you can see. The local data centers. Africa is contributing data as a raw material, which is taken and captured, and it is analyzed and is built into AI models, but Africa is not being participating. It is again an extractive component of the economy. Thank you very much. Again, I would like to say, Africa, as we digitalize, as we shift into the digital economy, please let us mind the business. It is an economy, it's not a technology. Thank you very much.